It's your man J Rock, and I am here with my co host Siege. And this is this week's edition of the J Rock Show. Siege, how are we doing today, my brother?
Man, we're doing good. I'm looking forward to the rest of this Friday, to the weekend. Been some good games this week, and I'm ready to just have a time here on the J Rock Show. That's what we're here for.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So today I thought we'd do something a little different. You know, um, I've had this idea floating around in the back of my head lately a lot. All time trouble team. Now,
Okay.
any guy who in who was either in trouble with suspensions, legal issues, what have you kind of stuff during, before their pro career, or after their pro career. And I figured to make it even more interesting, we do it draft style.
Okay. All right. Well, since it is the J Rock Show, I'll let you go first.
All right. So with my first pick, I got to go with one of the most pure and just take over shooting guards of all time. I got to go with the answer, Allen Iverson. I mean, early 2000s AI, I mean, there was just no stopping him. And you got to have a surplus of offense in that starting five, and there's no better way to start, in my opinion.
All right. All right. I like the pick. That's probably who I would have gone first, but I'm gonna go here. A guy that when you think about trouble in the NBA, he's one of the first guys that comes to your mind. He was a menace on the court, a menace off the court. He was he was wild. We'll put it that way. Before his career, after his career, during his career, I'm gonna take Dennis Rodman. Stick him at my four. I thought I'm gonna start this one off.
Okay, okay, I like that. I like that. And the nice thing about Rodman, he can defend literally any spot on the floor, and you can plug and play him
Yep.
really anywhere from the 3 through 5, to be honest. And he would do just
Yep.
fine. Okay, so
Yep.
for my second pick, ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna have to go with the presence down low, and I'm gonna go with some more offense. I'm gonna go with Carl the Mailman Malone. You know,
There was certainly some trouble there.
yes, without a doubt, from his time, in college at Louisiana Tech to, family drama, whatnot, throughout the years. I mean, one of the greatest scoring fours to ever play the game of basketball. And so I will take him as my second pick. So getting started with some big time offense.
All right, all right. So I think for me, this next one I got J Rock. I think it might be a sleeper pick. I don't know if everyone would consider him eligible for the All Trouble team, but all I know is he's a superstar who twice got caught on marijuana possession charges. So I'm gonna say a run-in with the law counts you to be on the All Trouble team. I'm gonna take Carmelo Anthony.
Okay, okay. Yeah, he was on my watch list too, as well. Definitely slot in as a great four there. Or great three, excuse me.
Yep, yep.
Hmm. This is really tough. But I guess I'm going to go for a backcourt mate. Yeah, I'll go for a point guard, someone to kind of lead and orchestrate the offense. I'm going to go with Isaiah Thomas, the
That's a good pick.
Pistons version of Isaiah Thomas. He was the face of those iconic Pistons teams of the mid to late 80s and the early 90s. Got into some trouble as a front office or coach guy with the Knicks in the 2000s. So you got to have a floor general and a leader leading and orchestrating that backcourt. And I'm going to go with IT.
All right, I like it. Still haven't got my backcourt pieces. I'm thinking I'm sliding Melo down to the three, right? And Rodman at the four. I'm gonna grab a five who could interchange with Rodman. Modern day guy. I'm gonna take Draymond Green. I would consider him
Okay, okay.
eligible for this this all trouble team. Everyone hates playing against him. He's been in the media over and over again for stomping people, whatever it may be. So Draymond, you're my 5.
Going with versatility with first 3 picks. I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
Hmm. So I got my backcourt, and I got my 4. Hmm. I'm gonna go with another. I guess you can play him in the 4 or the 5, or maybe even an oversized 3. I'm gonna go with my man Chris Webber.
That's a great pick. That was going to be my next pick for my bench if you didn't grab him. I like it.
I like whether I have Webber in my starting 5 or off the bench. He can score in just about every way, and I mean he was the leader and the face of the Fab Five that just absolutely revolutionized college basketball in the early '90s, and he can just do it all on the floor. So you got to take him for versatility in the front court.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. I like it. This one's a little bit different. Maybe not trouble in the sense that your brain immediately goes to when you think of trouble, but I think he ended up in some trouble after his playing career was over. We all saw the viral videos. I'm going to take Delonte West as my point guard.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Delonte West. He turned to a life of drugs after the NBA. We've seen those videos. I would also call what he was doing with LeBron's mom when he was playing with LeBron. That's trouble. That's trouble. It's funny, but like, what are you doing messing around with LeBron's mom? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good way to get your career ended real quick.
That'll do it.
Okay, so I guess I could go with a 3 here. I'm gonna go with Meta World Peace or Mr. Ron
Uh,
Test.
you sniped my next pick. I was gonna run him at the 2. I like it.
You know, maybe he doesn't have the shooting touch that an Iverson or Thomas or even a Weber has, but he's another versatile guy on defense, can guard multiple positions. You can plug him just about anywhere. He can score in the lane. He can hit the mid range shot. I got to go with Meta as my 5th pick.
All right. All right. I like it. I like it. Um, I need a 2. He's not really a trouble guy, I guess. I'm trying to think of guys who are actually were. Oh. All right, hear me out on this. I'm actually moving Delonte up to the 2. This guy, Jason Kidd, he was brought up on spousal abuse charges. I don't know if anyone ever remembers that, but that did happen. So I'm gonna take Jason Kidd at my 1. I'm gonna call that problem. He wasn't known as a problem guy, but that's a problem, J Rock. That's a problem.
Yeah, definitely. J Kidd, good pick. Definitely one of the more underrated point guards of all time. Definitely a great way to go. And so, got my first 5 here. And so, kind of going to my bench here. I'm going to go for more offense off the bench in the backcourt. I'm going to take Gilbert Arenas.
Oh, you keep sniping my picks. I was about to ask though, J Rock, are we allowed to move around our lineup? Can I move someone to the bench for one to start someone, even though you just took my starter anyways?
It's all good. Yes, you can switch and flop however way you want.
Great snipe there. Great snipe.
All right, now you're
All right.
pick.
All right. Well, then off the bench, I'm going to take who I think is one of the most talented guys that just didn't really pan out in the NBA. I still think, in terms of sheer, pure talent, this guy is one of the best basketball players to ever live. I'm going to take Michael Beasley.
Okay.
I would call him a problem. He wasn't able to stay in the league. He got caught up on marijuana charges a few times. I mean, dude was kind of an issue. I think that's why he didn't quite pan out. But Michael Beasley for sure coming off my bench.
Guy was a menace at K State. He was an absolute menace.
That he was.
Someone kind of moved to the front court now. I'm going to take Sean Kemp. Kind of an energy 4 off the bench to provide some interior scoring and paint defense.
I like that. He was maybe going to be a later pick of mine. But I'll be honest, this is the first time I think you missed on a pick, J-Rock. If you were looking for front court depth, let's not forget one of the most, I would say he's got the biggest media presence of a lot of former players, but he also had a couple of assault charges when he was younger. He's chilled out a lot. Great guy. I've actually met him in person. Met him at a restaurant in Birmingham. Charles Barkley. I'm going to take him off my bench.
Oh man.
The round mounder rebound coming in behind Rodman and Draymond. We're undersized. We don't have a lot of height, but we're going to be a problem.
Yes, you going for that grit and grind still. That can be very effective, Siege. Nothing wrong with that.
That's how we do. That's how we do.
Guess I could go for a backup one here. And this is probably the most recent guy on our list. I'm gonna take Ja Morant.
Oh, why didn't I even think of John Morant? That's a great pick.
You know, he can be explosive offensively off the one, attacking the rim, shooting, So I think my backcourt off the bench I'm pretty well set. I'm liking my backcourt on this squad.
Yeah, I like that. How many picks we gone through? I have 7 players. Okay. I'm just trying to think who I'm targeting next. I'm gonna go with. Look, he actually did have some charges off the court, but I would say he was a problem on the court very visibly. Lance Stevenson, he was just fun to watch. I loved watching Lance Stevenson. He gave LeBron fits in those old Pacers Heat playoff series. I love Lance Stevenson, so he's gonna make the squad.
Okay, like that. And that conference finals, run in, blowing of the ear of LeBron. I think that to me is just forever gonna
Legendary.
live rent free in people's heads when you think of him.
Legendary.
And so Siege, I just thought of this for a little caveat to make these. What are we going into the 9th round? To make these last 2 rounds interesting, I thought we would expand the pool of options to pick from and not just limit it to NBA trouble guys, but expand to sports.
Okay.
Things a little more interesting.
It sounds like you got someone in mind for me then.
I got, but, however, I have to, for my 9th, second to last pick, I gotta stay NBA. And while this guy maybe didn't necessarily have a lot of legal issues, he was another key component of those bad boy Pistons teams. I gotta go with Bill the Madman Laimbeer.
He was a madman.
I mean, he was definitely not afraid to put you on your ass if you were driving the lane. He wasn't afraid to set the tone or be an enforcer or what have you. He definitely set that culture in Detroit for those squads of the 80s and 90s.
That he did. That's the guy. I honestly can't believe I didn't take him. I love watching Bill Laimbeer highlights, so to say. I don't know how many basketball highlights there are, but you know what I mean. I love watching those old games where he was playing. I'm going to step out of the NBA, but I am going to take an NFL player who, on record, can hoop. He is a hooper, and he's one of the biggest problem guys in NFL history in terms of just antics and shenanigans, if you will. I'm going to take Terrell Owens.
Okay. T.O. legend. Now, I thought I knew where I wanted to go with this last pick, but you know what? I got to go with the freak Randy Moss. Now,
I like it.
When he was at DuPont High School, which I think he was from West Virginia, if I remember correctly, he played with, Bobby Howard, who played football at Notre Dame, Sam Singleton, who ended up playing, I think, in the Brewers farm system, and Jason Williams, Mr. White Chocolate himself. And an absolutely explosive 2-guard for that squad. So I think for my final pick, I'm going to take Randy Moss.
That's a great pick and might have been my next pick, but I actually am going to take a guy who I'm pretty confident probably can't hoop at all. But even though I have many enforcers on my team in the form of, Draymond and Rodman, I'm going to take a guy who I think would probably get along with those guys really well. His problems were well documented, may or may not have killed 2 guys. He was never convicted, but those allegations will always follow him. I'm going to take my enforcer off the bench, Ray Lewis.
One of the baddest middle linebackers of all time. I love it.
You are not getting any easy buckets in the paint when Ray Lewis is on the floor. In fact, you might leave in a neck brace. We're not sure. We haven't taught him the rules of basketball yet, but he's ready to get out there.
And with me, Miami is definitely one of my schools. Miami is one of my schools, so I am a big fan of that pick. I am a big
Thank you.
pick. So now that we've drafted out all our squads and production is telling us it's time to wrap it up almost here, let's set our depth charts, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
So starting at the 1, I'm gonna have Isaiah Thomas. Who do you have as your starting 1?
At the 1, I'm trying to remember who I took my other guard. I know I took Delonte West. I moved him to the 2, Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd's going to start at the 1 for me.
Okay. At the 2, I'm going to go with AI, the answer. I mean, you could flip-flop him between either the 1 or the 2.
I think that's right. I think that's the right move.
I feel for this.
Well, I'm matching up. You might have me beat on the 2 matchup. I got Delonte West rolling out as my starting 2.
People often sleep on Delonte West. When he was with those Cavs teams,
he was a hooper.
He could hoop. The man could ball. He definitely
that he could.
Ball. Then at my 3, I'm going to go with Meta World Peace. Get some versatility on defense in there.
I'm going to have Carmelo Anthony rolling out at the 3.
Melo, okay. And then at the 4, I'm going to go with C-Dub Chris Webber. Give me some offensive versatility there and explosiveness.
All right, my 4, I'm actually going to move Draymond to the 4. So I got Draymond there at the 4.
Now for my starting 5, I'm going to go with the mailman Karl Malone. I know he's more of a 4, but size-wise...
Hey, it's your roster. It's your roster. It's your roster. Do what you want. I'll take Rodman at my 5.
I like that.
All right, well, I like it, Jake. I'm going to be honest. You might have me at the 2 guard position, but I'm going to take my squad any day of the week on this one. I'm going to take my squad any day of the week in a 7-game series. I'd love to hear from the homies down below in the thread whose team they got in this one. I'll tell you that.
Now, before we get going here, who would you have as your 6th man off the bench?
It's got to be, I want to say Barkley because he's the best player on my bench, but it's going to be Michael Beasley because I'm going to revive him, use that talent. He's going to be one of the best of all time by the time I'm done with him. So Michael Beasley.
All right, I like that. Me, I got to go with some explosive offense, kind of J crossover or Lou Will style at the 6th man. So I'm going to go with Gilbert Arenas at my 4. Or at my 6th man, sorry.
That's a great pick at the 6.
So, yeah, everyone, tell us down in the comments in the threads section below who you think this matchup in a 7-game series.
Boom. Let us know.
Yep. All right. Well, Siege, thank you for joining me today, my brother.
Yes, sir. It was a pleasure.
Always good to have you on the show. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's edition of the J-Rock Show. We'll see you next week. And as always, see the game, be the game.